sound of a woman's voice in a man's world. Throughout history, men have held great frontline positions. Also, women have held great positions throughout history in frontline leadership roles. But these women have all had challenging journeys. They haven't had much recognition along the way, and the journey has been fraught with men who have tried to stem their leadership roles. Our daughters have been servants, they have been slaves, they've not been educated, nor offered the opportunity that men have been offered in the same life. Daughters and sons get different choices. Women's rights had to even reach a critical mass level before we were even allowed to vote. Now that we can vote, that's the sound of a woman's voice in a man's world. Yet many of the great men of history, their genius, their creativity, their outward strength is often due to the influence of a great woman, an amazing woman in fact. Derived from this is the saying that behind every great man is a great woman. Where does the saying come from? It was first published in 1936 when a man actually gave tribute to his wife in a newspaper article, and it was very noteworthy. It's been used ever since, and by the tone of his voice, it even sounded like that it had been said many times before. There's a website online you can look for yourself called askmen.com. It's got a great article written in it. The article's author is Carmine Gallo, credit to her. And she suggests that a woman of influence is especially important for a man. She cites that a woman who encourages and supports her man has a man who takes risks. She's a woman who provides public support for her man. She gives him life's perspective. She takes care of the household. She also offers solid support. She supports his drive and ambition, and she provides his self-confidence. These things allow the man to step up, to be self-disciplined, to be focused, and to get all the great things out of life. She shares in there too the story of Bill Gates, how he became the richest man even before he married Melinda. And some argue that it was Melinda's influence over Gates to spend millions of dollars on world health. The issues that the Melinda and Bill Gates Foundation have been endowed close to $29 billion to save global health issues and education crises around the world. As ambitious men, we literally can work ourselves to death, she cites. We can miss out on the things in life that are truly important: faith, friendship, community, and service. It's these things that make the world a better place. It's not the amount of dollars you've accumulated by the end of your life. Carmine Gallo and I have the same idea that faith, community, friendship, and service are the really important things in life. Imagine if Bill Gates' wife had used her voice of influence in her husband in a different way. Imagine if she hadn't been encouraging, uplifting, and used her soft, sweet, fascinating voice to influence him to help change the world. His wife could have been selfish, resentful, angry at his success, at his career, at his money, and at his status. Imagine what sort of reflection she would have left on her husband had her tone been more resentful, say. We've seen many marriages like this, where there's a woman of great intelligence, a woman of beauty, ability, and influence. She's torn her man apart merely with words. The constant barrage of negativity tears a man down. It dampens his drive, it undermines his self-confidence. When these things happen to a man, he loses his focus, he loses his drive in life. He works really hard to create a place of safety, a place where the world can be changed for his woman and his family for the future. So in effect, a woman has created this hole for herself. It's a spiral that continues into the downward breakdown of communication. In fact, she's inflicted this upon herself. That's how powerful a woman's voice is. What if the marriage that we just described, where a woman's voice tore a man down, what if that marriage was the marriage of our Prime Minister? Maybe of the King of the country? Maybe the President? Maybe the Mayor of your local city? Would you really want that man and his wife running your local family? No way. Let's brighten things up a little bit. Don't have to talk about what ifs. We're talking about choice. The choice that we can make. Men can make the choice or a woman can make the choice. It's just my personal belief that if a woman makes the choice to support her man, it's a whole different story. There's no what ifs. It's a definite choice. What if the woman chose to maintain her intelligence, work on her beauty, her ability and her influence in ways to support her husband, to encourage and edify him? Her supportive husband then would encourage her individual identity. He understands her values and that her vision and the availability of her place of compassion really can, with her creativity, feed and support him. Charlotte Barton is a hero of Australian history. She was one such woman like we just talked about. Only her husband didn't support her. He didn't support her ability, her identity or her individuality. Instead, he tore her down with violence and alcohol abuse. She left in 1939 fearing for her safety and that of her 4 children. She chose to maintain her intelligence, her beauty, her creativity and her influence, and she went on to become an author, in fact publishing the first children's book ever written in Australia. She was also fiercely independent, and though an abused wife and a sole parent, she succeeded in changing the male-dominated legal system and winning the ability to keep the custody of her 4 children. So smart women with great mentors can affect the world with their soft, sweet voice. Maria Shriver, for instance, influenced Arnold Schwarzenegger. She influenced him to stop thinking about himself and instead to think about the community at large. He's used a lot of his money to fund community events for disadvantaged youths and for the Special Olympics. He often credits Maria for this community compassion. The difference between men and women is that they are both great leaders. However, it's the very differences between men and women that suggest that a woman's voice has a greater positive impact on society. Why do I say this? Because a woman's voice has not led to violence, torture, genocide and poverty. In fact, it's a woman's voice, the voice of compassion, that has not led to these things. In fact, if a woman was leading, maybe there'd be less violence and poverty than there ever has been today. Many great men have had wives that are not in the public eye, yet they had an even greater influence. These women understand that leaders don't need to be loud and showy, that they don't need to be in the front and the focus of all situations. I think it's the unity of a man and a woman that actually creates the greatest leadership in the world. The strategy and the drive of a man, encouraged and edified with a woman's compassion and focus, can actually change the world. When God created man, he didn't just leave Adam to tend the Garden of Eden. He actually realised that the picture wasn't complete, so he created Eve to round things off. Can you imagine what would have happened? He puts Adam in the garden to tend the plants. Adam goes off and makes rows, has structure and strategic alliances with all the corn and the carrots to get the biggest profit margin possible. Along comes Eve. Eve looks at the structured rows and maximum profit of carrots. She actually really only wants to spend time with Adam because he's so strong. He's got such vision. But she doesn't want to spend time in his strategic world. She wants to spend time with him wandering in the garden. Not only eating of the food, but also enjoying the colour and the beauty. She's wondering where the style is. She actually wants to walk with Adam and know where the garden's going. She wants this garden to be everything that it could possibly be. And she knows that Adam has the vision for that. And she loves him and supports him into it. In today's world, not much has changed really. A woman can build up or tear down a man. With her faith, with her encouragement and with her love, a man can be trusted, can be focused, can be self-disciplined, and most of all, can change the world to create a better place for his children and his society. For a man to change the world, a woman needs to be a great cheerleader. Jump and shout, wave your arms all about. By doing this for a man, you get to achieve all your dreams. It's quite simple really, it's just a choice that you can make by trusting and having faith in your husband. by having faith in the man that's there for you right now, by having faith in the man's voice. A woman's voice has the most power, and you can have everything you've ever dreamed of. So my final point to finish today is it doesn't matter to me, in my opinion, whether it's a man's world or a woman's world. A woman's voice is the loudest voice, even if it's the softest, sweetest voice from behind. Thanks.